Hello, good morning. My name is Siti Adwatela with my SID 3323035, and today I would like to do a presentation of the midterm task project of social linguistics. In here today, I would like to talk about many things. For example, like code mixing, code switching, diglossia, style shifting, and then a lot of things. Okay, I'm gonna explain about my material. First up, for the part 1, I chose the topic code mixing and code switching, and the first thing I would like to talk about is code mixing. Okay, what is code mixing? Code mixing is the mixing of two or more language within one sentence or utterance. Okay, so basically code mixing could happen when the speakers they talk in, maybe the speakers are bilingual, so they like to mix one languages or more in one sentences. In here, I have an example of the mixes of Indonesian and English in one sentence. I would like to read the example. Aku lagi ngerjain assignment yang deadline-nya besok. In this sentence, we have two languages, which is Indonesia and English. In Indonesia, we have aku lagi ngerjain yang besok. And the English words are assignment and deadline. So in code mixing, we mix two or more languages within one sentence or utterances. Like I said before, there are like many reasons code mixing could happen. There are many reasons that a speaker could use code mixing. The first reason is the speakers is bilingual, and then some English words are easier to use. As you guys know, English is a universal language, so a lot of people use it. And then English, for a lot of people, English sounds more casual or more like modern. And then we're moving on to type of code mixing. According to Peter Moiskan, code mixing are divided into several forms. There are three forms that we would like to talk. The first one is insertion, alternation, and then congruent lexicalization. First up, we're gonna talk about insertion. Insertion happens when a speaker puts a word or short phrase from another language into a sentence. So insertion is only adding like one word into a sentence, like in a different language. Like in these examples, aku lagi ada meeting sekarang, and then besok ada quiz matematika. And then the next type is alternation. Alternation happens when a speaker changes from one language to another in the same sentence or conversation. For example, here, gak jelek sih, but not that good either. And then, maaf ya aku telat, the traffic was really bad. So different from the previous one, which is insertion. In insertion, we only change into one word, but in alternation, we changes into a sentence. Okay, like it's still in the same context, but in different sentences. And then the last type of code mixing, we have congruent lexicalization. So congruent lexicalization is happen when two languages are mixed naturally in one sentence and both language are used almost equally. For examples, besok ada online class jam 8 ya. And then dia suka share meme ini karena lucu. So in these examples, the speakers could be not realizing that they were using code mixing, this type of code mixing, which is congruent lexicalization, because like online class and then share meme, it was used in daily conversation. Next is we're moving on to code switching. So we're done with code mixing, and now we switched into code switching. What is code switching? Code switching is the change from one language to another during a communication, during a conversation. For example here, semua orang sudah menuduhnya, but we still need more evidence. And then we have type of code mixing. According to Shana Poplak, code mixing is divided into 3. First up is we have tag switching, and then intrasentential code switching, and intersentential switching. First, we're gonna talk about tag switching. What is tag switching? So basically, tag switching happens when the speaker adds short words or expression from another language into a sentence. For example, here there are several words like okay, by the way, on the way, right? And then if we put it into the sentence, it could be jangan lupa berkabar, okay? Aku juga dengar itu, by the way. So tag switching is like more like an expression. So like for example here, okay, you could have not realized it that you were doing a code switching because it was okay, and the rest of the example of the words are the word that you use daily for expressing something. And then moving on to the second type, which is intersentential switching. So intersentential switching happens when the speaker change language between sentences. Okay, in here one sentence uses one language and the next sentence uses another language. It was similar to alternation in code mixing. For example here, aku suka caranya mengajar. Her explanation is very clear. Besok ada kelas pagi. Don't forget to sleep early. And then, capek banget hari ini. I need to take a long rest. So you can see here, basically they were talking about the same context, but they were switching from Indonesia to English. And then the last type of code switching is intrasentential switching. So intrasentential switching happens when a speaker changes language within one sentence, or words or phrases from another language are inserted into the sentence. For example here, dia always datang lebih awal, and then aku searching materinya kemarin di rumah. And the last example is mereka pikir aku smart di matematika. This type of code switching is similar to code mixing because both of them happen in one sentences, but in intrasentential they were more focuses on switching the structure during the communication. And then we're moving to the case study. We're gonna talk about 6 case study. First up is we're moving on into the first case study, which is diglossia. I will read the situation first, okay? In a university seminar, a student presents using formal Indonesian. However, during the discussion session, the same student switches to a more informal variety when interacting with peers. Meanwhile, the lecturer consistently used formal Indonesian throughout the session. Because we didn't talk about diglossia before, I would like to tell you the definition of diglossia first in general, maybe. So basically, diglossia is when you were changing the style of the way you talk, when it's the way you change the way you talk, or like you're using two different different language style to talk with others, and then you were like adjusting the situation. For example, For example, usually you use formal languages in formal situation, like in a meeting or in a group discussion, and then in a seminar, and then you use informal when you were talking with peers, friends. To answer the situation, I found this theory from Charles S. Ferguson. So he stated that diglossia can happen when a high variety is used in formal contexts, while a low variety is used in informal communication, as I said before. Okay, as if formal languages is usually used in education seminars, okay, and then informal language used in casual conversation with friends, siblings, others, and based on this case, the student uses formal during the presentation because the seminar is basically formal activity. So during a seminar, as you guys know, it was a formal situation, so you have to speak formally. However, during the discussion with peers or friends, the student changed the way they talk because when you were talking with someone your age, some of you guys doesn't set boundaries as if you do with other people who were higher than you or like older than you. When we were talking with friends, usually we use informal language. And then I have another theory from Joshua Fishman. So according to him, language choice depends on situation, listener, and communication purpose. In this situation, the lecturer using formal Indonesian to show that he was being professional, okay, while the students, they were using informal to show that they were feeling comfortable with when they were having interaction with their friends. And then in social linguistic, diglossia helps people to communicate appropriately in different situations. Let's move to the second case, which is about a pretty long title. So it's about code alternations, style shifting, code mixing, and code switching. I will read the situation first. During a group discussion, students frequently mix Indonesian and English. One student says, "Menurut saya, this concept is very important untuk kita pahami." While another responds in full English, but later switches back to Indonesian when speaking to another peer or another friends. In here, I have the theory from John J. Gumbers. So he stated that code switching and code alternation are communication strategies used by bilingual speakers in social interaction. And then also from Carol Myers Scotland. So people choose the language they use based on the social situation and their purpose in speaking. You see, from the situation that I've read before, the student said, "Menurut saya, this concept is very important untuk kita pahami." In here, the student used code mixing because in the sentence, "Menurut saya, this concept is very important untuk kita pahami," it was code mixing because the speaker mixes Indonesian and English in one sentence. And then after that, you see the friend responds in full English, not in mixed languages. And then after that, they switched back into full Indonesian. It was the example of code switching. And then after that, the student changed speaking style depending on audience and the situation. It was style shifting, and we will talk about style shifting later. And then the student alternate between Indonesian and English in the same interaction during the interaction, and it was the example of code alternation. Why would this happen? Okay, it has happened because the student could be bilingual, or they were feeling more comfortable using other language like English, or maybe they were comfortable using both Indonesian and English. Nowadays, English is often used because it sounds like more modern and then more academic, and yeah, especially in educational discussion, while Indonesian is used to create comfort and to show how close they are among friends. Based on the introduction, English conveys intelligence, academic identity, and professionalism, while Indonesian conveys familiarity and then friendliness. And in social linguistics, this practice function to show bilingual ability to create solidarity and help speakers communicate effectively in the different situation. Moving on to style shifting, or the third case study. I will read the situation first. So in this situation, a student speaks very formally when presenting in front of the class, but becomes highly informal when talking to close friends after class. The vocabulary, the tone, and sentence structure change significantly depending on the audience. What is style shifting? Because we didn't talk about style shifting before. So style shifting is when someone changes the way they talk, the way they speak, the way they communicate, depending on who are they talking to. It could be the person, the situation. For example, when you were speaking to a teacher or lecturer, you gotta speak formally, but when you were talking to friends, you were speaking informal. Based on William Leboeuf, style shifting happens when speakers change their speaking style based on social context and audience, as I said before. And in this case, the student speaks formally during the classroom presentation, because presentation are formal situation, and then it was academic activities that require politeness, and you need to speak professional. And then based on Alan Bell, he explained that in audience design theory that speakers could adjust their language depending on the listener. Okay, this could happen because people want to communicate appropriately in different social situation. Formal language in this situation conveys professionalism, seriousness, and respect, while informal language conveys closeness, comfort, and friendship. In social linguistics, style shifting helps speakers build relationship, adjust to social environments, and communicate effectively with different audiences. And then we're moving on to the fourth case. So in this fourth case, the situation is in a casual conversation. A student says, aku lagi ngerjain assignment yang deadline-nya besok, jadi harus cepat selesai. In the sentence combines elements from Indonesian and English within the same utterance. According to Moiscan, code mixing could happen when speakers combine elements from different languages into one sentence. Like you can see in the sentence, aku lagi ngerjain assignment yang deadline-nya besok, which is combines two languages in Indonesia and English. And in the sentence, there are words assignment and deadline. They were commonly used in educational environments and are considered to be easier or more like practical by the students. Because even me as a student, I feel like it's more familiar to hear those words like assignment and deadline in academic. Charlotte Hoffman says that bilingual speakers naturally mix languages in daily communication, and then here the use of English words conveys academic identity and familiarity within modern educational terms, while Indonesian maintains comfort and natural communication. Sociolinguistically, code mixing functions to simplify communication to show bilingual ability and create a casual speaking style among students. Next is code switching. The situation here is during a class discussion, a student begins speaking in Indonesian, but switches entirely to English when explaining a concept, and then returns to Indonesian when giving the examples. According to Chanapaplak, code switching is the change from one language into another during communication. Based on the case, on the situation, the student begins to talk in Indonesia and then switches completely to English when they were explaining the concept, and then when trying to explain the examples, back to Indonesian. This could happen because when someone is bilingual, they commonly use different languages for different communication purposes. So they switch for different communication purposes. English is commonly used in academic discussion because it sounds more formal, it sounds more academic, and then it's often associated with education knowledge and professional communication. John Jay said that code switching is not random because speakers use it to create social meaning and make communication more effective. Sociolinguistically, code switching functions to help speakers explain their ideas clearly and then adjust languages to the audience, emphasizing the important information, and then build social relationship during communication. And this was very common in bilingual communities, especially in educational environments where the speaker is frequently use more than one language to speak. Last is dialect. The situation we have here is the students from different regions in Indonesia interact in a classroom. Some use standard Indonesian, while others incorporate regional dialect features such as pronunciation, vocabulary, or intonation. According to Peter Trudgill, dialect is a language variety connected to a particular region or social group. Based on the situation here, in the classroom, inside the classroom, they have many students who were from another region of the country, and then which is they were talking in a different language, different vocabulary, and then different on the way they were talking, different pronunciation, and intonation, because they are influenced by their local languages and regional backgrounds. Why is this happen? It's because every region has their own tradition, has its own culture and characteristic in their language, and that is affecting on how people speak Indonesian. For example, here there are students from Java, Sumatra, or Sulawesi. They could be speaking in the same languages but in a different accent and speaking style, and then in this interaction, dialect conveys the regional identity, cultural backgrounds, and group belonging. Sociolinguistically, Dialect functions to express identity, show cultural diversity, and build solidarity among people from similar backgrounds. And then dialect variation also makes classroom interaction more diverse and interesting. Now we're done. I think that's all of my explanation for this midterm project. I really hope my explanation is understandable. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Thank you.